Last night, you spent 2 hours deciding what to wear to the party. This morning, it'll take you 2 minutes to list it on Depop and make your money back. Just grab your phone, snap a few photos, and we'll take care of the rest. The sheer dress and platform heels you'll never wear again? There's a birthday girl searching for them right now. Your one-and-done look is about to pay for your next night out. Or at least the ride home. Your style can make you cash. Start selling on Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
Where is Daredevil?
A minor. Don't miss the return of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again.
So what's next?
I feel liberated.
We're gonna take this city back.
Over medicated.
In an all-new season, now streaming only on Disney+.
They're hunting us. It's time we started hunting them.
I can work with that.
This should be tons of fun.
Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming only on Disney+.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
You know what the crazy thing is, Zeus? In my darkest moment, my darkest time, right here in front of the world, man, a light bulb went off on me, Zeus. Ain't that something? You wanna know what I realized, Zeus? Hey, Gunther, look at me. I'm not afraid of you no more.
It's the show that celebrates WWE. It's Gorilla Position.
Hello, you, and welcome to Gorilla Position. Thank you very much for hitting the download button on this, your pro wrestling / sports entertainment podcast of pleasure. My name's James D'Lo, your host and your guide through the wonderful world of WWE. Thank you for tuning into this episode 369 of the biggest and best WWE podcast in the UK, the show that takes you closer to the action, the adventure, and inside the stories that drive this fascinating art form. Folks, WrestleMania is within touching distance. Favors have been cashed in, devastating injuries have curtailed huge moments on the Grande stage, and emotion and story win the fight again. Today we'll break down the, and I quote, the biggest triple threat match in history and where the wise man's loyalty lies. We'll talk Kevin Owens' career-threatening injury that will see him out of action for 6 to 12 months. And finally, some meat on the bones. Jey Uso, Gunther, the world title of Mania, and some much-needed emotion thanks to Big Jim. Lots to get through with just 10 days to go before WrestleMania in Vegas. And to get into the action with me this week, firstly, he's a podcaster, a content creator, a WrestleManiac. Mekz is here. You all right, Mekz, girls?
I am, and yourself?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Good. Yeah, 10 days away. It's feeling real now. It's feeling tangible. And we've got some good stories.
You can feel it in your loins, can't you?
Tingling loins, yes.
And speaking of tingling loins, finally making his long-awaited return to the GP studio. Fresh from his tour of Chicago around the country, he's an actor, a dancer, a singer, and all that jazz. Kevin Clifton is back.
Hello.
How are you, Mekz?
I'm really good, thanks. I was feeling lonely. I am also 0 for 3, so I was feeling triggered, and Skillet's been in my DMs, so I thought I'd better make a return.
Skillet's been in your DMs. You never want to be there. It's been a long while since we've seen you.
I know, ages. Months. Yeah, I've been away on tour, but this is my first chance to actually get back in the studio, so I was dying to get back. Texted you straight away. I was like, I can make it.
Yeah, was very pleased.
And also, Stace wants me out the house because like she keeps telling me off for being on my phone, and I'm like, she's like, baby, get off your phone, and I'm going, no, I've got this important work thing I need to take care of. She's like, you're texting Skillet about wrestling again, aren't you? Like, yeah, I am.
Honestly, listeners, if you could see the absolute state of our GP WhatsApp group, like I'm talking 7-minute voice messages from Kev, like the back and forth is absurd. It's absolutely absurd, and I'm slightly worried now you're back. We're going to get another CM Punk rant.
Another CM Punk rant? Well, I don't know. It depends what you're going to say. It usually comes off the back of you making some claim that, like, you know, he's the greatest superstar of all time.
But he is.
Right, okay.
No. Don't bite. Now, listen, we always start off with a big question. This week, I dedicate the BQ to our listeners who have emailed in their droves attempting to answer the big question from last week. Just how many fire alarm beeps were heard during the show, which really got my goat, by the way. But we created some fun out of it. So many messages about this. Leon Cardin, he says, last week's episode was so good I had to listen to it twice. I think the total number of beeps was 37. If it's wrong, I blame me concentrating on the motorway driving home. Love listening to the pod. Keep up the good work. Fox Whitaker, he says simply 42 beeps. Ben Clark, another fantastic episode. I counted 39 beeps. Part of me thinks there were possibly 2 more during the intro, making it 41 in total, which would be ironic with WrestleMania 41 in a couple of weeks. Gary Mack says, next time you're at the checkout and you hear the beep, think of the fun you could have on Supermarket Sweep. Jizo, that took the fun out of the pod. It was like I was having a hearing test. My guess is 43. Genuinely need to listen to the pod again because I was only listening for the beeps. Aklak says, I had the beep test at number 41, and I assume producer Ben was feeling the heat from James as he got it sorted mid-show. Not as much heat as if there was a real fire. but yes, producer Ben felt some heat. Finally, Luke Parker says, hello, you. First time emailing, and I'll be honest, I was hoping it would be for something more insightful. However, I've just spent the last 25 minutes searching my house for where the beeping noise was coming from. Time well spent. To answer all your questions, no idea how many beeps there were, but producer Ben, your penance for allowing that to happen on last week's show, you need to go back and listen to the episode and he's even writing this down and confirm the amount of beeps, and then, as I said, we'll give out a prize to the correct guesses. So yeah, double thumbs up from Ben. Got another email here from David McGregor. He says, given the introduction of the sure to be brilliant NXT segment on GP, which is where we're asking Mekz to give us a breakdown of NXT, we should start that maybe post WrestleMania. In the post WrestleMania lull, we'll do a bit of an NXT roundup with you. David was thinking of other potential weekly segments for the show. Bury the move. Each week you pick a move that looks awful and needs to be retired ASAP, i.e. Damian Priest walk along the top rope into a crossbody. Dreadful. Unexpected round of applause. A little clap for someone who wouldn't ordinarily get one, i.e. Angelo Dawkins, a guy who I was convinced would be released within 6 months of being on the main roster, but now is holding his own. Yeah. I feel like we do random claps for people quite often.
We do.
I think unexpected round of applause is already a thing. Longer or shorter? Comparing WWE things to the length of time since Ash Rose was on the podcast, i.e. Mankind's cumulative days as WWE champion across 3 reigns, longer or shorter than when Ash Rose was last on the podcast? The answer, shorter.
Jeez.
Mankind was champion for 47 days across his 3 reigns. At time of writing, it's been 61 days since Ash Rose appeared on GP.
Gosh.
Keep up the good work, David. God, I love our GP listeners.
That's a quality email.
That is a brilliant email. I love that. So let's talk about smackers, shall we? Shall we dive right in? Yes. Not loads of huge takeaways from Smackers Friday night in Chicago, but certainly the few big talking points are definitely something we should dive into on the show. And I wanted to start talking about, and you referenced it in your intro, Kev, that promo between Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton. A positive, it's got people talking. A negative, not in a good way.
Yeah.
Mekz, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was one of those ones where you're watching it through your hands, through your fingers. Like, you want it to stop, but you're curious and you just keep watching it, sort of thing, and it's not getting any better. And I think even as a fan base, you could see how it kind of divulged into not what it was supposed to be. In our group, we've had a lot of chat about, you know, the look of it all and I guess the perception of it all. I just think that, you know, Tiffany on this run, since she's won the title back at, what was it, the Netflix debut in January, she just hasn't looked good at all. And this was supposed to be like a big, this feud that is, was supposed to be like a big kind of coming out moment, you know, wrestling one of the best that they've got in that division. And so far, like I say, the match will probably bang, they'll get away with it. But so far, just the feud, it just hasn't done her any favours.
Well, it was a bit baffling. It was mistimed. It was awkward as hell. There were personal jabs. There were misguided retorts. Charlotte Flair seemed to be struggling. She seems rattled by the crowd, it feels, which means in turn Tiffany is not benefiting as the younger star like she should be. Difficulties backstage or not, because we don't know the real situation, what's happening, but difficulties backstage or not, it is a peculiar build, this one, and it's not building anyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kev, do you agree with that?
I don't agree that it's not building anyone.
Really?
I thought this, as a segment, it was messy. It was all over the place.
Yeah.
But, you know, when Cena first came back and gave his first promo, and our sort of opinion on it was the content of it wasn't that interesting, but the delivery was just impeccable. I thought on this, it was like the opposite. The delivery was messy. It got personal. It clearly went off script. It was kind of like, oh my God, what is happening here? Like, the delivery was not flawless. It wasn't Cena-esque. But content-wise, we now have a feud that I'm sitting on the front of my seat for, whereas I wasn't before. Like, and whether that was intentional or not, you know, like, I was not really into it. Now, Charlotte is one of my favourites out of men and women. And actually, I don't tend to listen to a lot of the other wrestling podcasts a lot, just because I don't like to be swayed at the moment by their opinion. Like, I might listen to them after we've done this or something, but like on a few weeks after.
And
or
you're
whatever.
like, damn, I should have said that.
yeah. But because we were talking about this so much, and I don't know what the general temperature of this is, like on whose side they're coming down on. When we were talking on the group, especially like with Skillet came in straight away with posting the clip, and I hadn't seen it at the time, and it was like, we've got to talk about how unprofessional Charlotte is, and there seemed to be this temperature of like, this is all on Charlotte. That I just don't agree with, and I listened to the Busted Open segment where Bubba Ray and Dave LaGreca were interviewing Ric Flair, and Bubba Ray made a few points where he was like, Charlotte is without question, I'm not even willing to entertain the conversation, like, she is without question the greatest female wrestler of all time. She is way ahead of everyone. And he said, even I think she's in the conversation for top 10 of all time, including men and women, for how good she is. That's Bubba Ray's statement, right? Not mine, right? So I was like, okay, so it's not just me that has this like high opinion of Charlotte. It's like, you know, Bubba Ray who's been in the ring and and everyone's going to have their opinions. I thought with Tiff, I haven't really been on board. I don't have anything against her, but I haven't really been invested. I've always found her that thing that I always slightly take the mick out of, a bit like, toodles, oh yeah, girl, you know, that kind of cartoonish, you know, stuff. And I agree with you, the build hasn't been great in terms of this match, but I just think until now this is the first time when suddenly I was like, my God, like Tiff is like going in hard, and this feud just got properly spicy. Now Skillet's point on it when we were talking on the WhatsApp group was like, yeah, but it's gone off script and he's burying her and all of this stuff. I sort of, before all of this conversation came about, I didn't watch it and go, oh my God, Charlotte's unprofessional. I just thought, oh my God, that got spicy between the two of them. I would say that the far harsher rhetoric came from Tiff. Like, I don't know what the harshest thing that Charlotte said was. There was the squeaky voice and Kaiser's your boyfriend's in my DMs. It's not like, if you said that to me, like, it wouldn't be like a thing to make me lose sleep at night, you know, if we were having a bit of a round.
I mean, Stacey is in my DMs.
I'm sure he is, yeah.
Just to be clear.
But like, where I thought, for example, Tiff went in on, you know, like Charlotte and her marriages and stuff like. Now, if that's not agreed upon first with Charlotte, and if that's truly offensive to Charlotte and something she's sensitive about, as in the real life, what's her name? Ashley is her name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ashley, you know, then that's not cool to go for that. But if Charlotte's okay with it, then sort of I'm okay with it. It's all about like what's agreed on between them.
So can I jump in here quickly?
Of course. Yeah.
So a report has since come out saying that, of course, as we all knew, there's things were said that weren't agreed. And it started with Charlotte mimicking Tiffany's voice.
Okay.
That's wasn't agreed and wasn't meant to happen.
Okay.
Then the whole divorce conversation was planned to happen.
Okay.
But Tiffany wasn't to say 0-3.
Right.
So that's Tiffany now taking the piss and, you know, saying something that's not.
Right,
you know,
which I would say is a bit more personal and harsher than you've got a squeaky voice.
But I don't think, because Kev, you shrugged when Mekz said she was taking the piss out of her voice. I think the key there is not the fact that Charlotte took the piss out of Tiffany's voice. It's that she trampled all over Tiffany's big line, which was, "You're not the queen of SHIT."
Yeah.
And it's just like in a promo, I think this is the point. In a promo, you've got to allow the lines to hit. And if you start interrupting, even though it might feel like a more natural argument in real life, I think the promo loses fire if the lines don't hit. And I think for Charlotte to trample over the swearing line that would have been a bit of a pop for Tiffany to go, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. It's like, that felt unprofessional. It sounds like a really small thing, but it is taking heat away from the moment.
I take your point. But like when I was watching it, it didn't register with me like that. I heard that "You're not the queen of SHIT" very clearly, and then I heard Charlotte going back at her, and it felt like they almost wanted to punch each other out, and I quite liked it.
Yeah,
and I was like, this feels kind of real. Like, and my slight point on it is like, I think we love to hate. Not me personally, but we, as in like lots of people, wrestling fans love to hate on Charlotte, and she will never be able to do right by them because she is called Charlotte Flair, and she and their point will be, but she, you know, because of that, she's handed all these titles. You know, she's got so many title reigns and da 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 da. Number one, she is really good, right? So. She is deserving of world titles, and she understands story, and she understands her character. Like, I think she was meant to come back as a babyface, but they kind of 100%. Messed that up, and she immediately pivoted and leant into it, and she knew what her role is. And she's not being a cool heel, she's being a monster, hateable heel, and she's playing that, you know, when Tiff goes, Nepo baby, she's like, Nepo queen.
That was a great line, by the way, but she wasn't meant to say that either.
Yeah, but what are we saying? We only want like everyone to stay on script. I thought that's what we used to complain about. Like, we want some of this.
Well, yeah,
right?
the real positive here is that how much time are we talking about this on the podcast? You know, it's become a talking point. So that is a real positive, as I flagged earlier. And the thing I love about wrestling is when you think, oh, that wasn't meant to happen. That felt different. Yeah. And there were aspects of it here, but I think just because the execution of it felt so messy, yes, that feels real, but I think it did detract from the moment as well. I think there's a balancing act.
Like Cody and Cena had a worked shoot type promo the week before,
and one of the greatest promos
and it was fantastic.
Ever.
Yes. And it was fantastic.
And they were literally trying to one-up each other, but it was within the realms of obviously what was planned. This was two ladies trying to one-up each other, which was fine, but you could see it wasn't planned.
And it got out of hand. But I'm now way more interested in Tiff than I was. We now have a monster heel in the women's division in Charlotte. And we have a match at WrestleMania that is not going to be the toilet break, whereas it very well could have been. Right? Once again, the Charlotte bit, I'm interested in. I'm never not. Like she always finds a way to get me invested. I remember there was one match I think it was with Rhea Ripley, and it might have been, it was a few years ago because I was living in my old house, but like, I think they opened the card or something. It was earlier on, and the crowd were dead. And I remember talking about it on the pod, I think when we were doing that on Zoom, where Charlotte started to work the crowd and she started doing things in different ways. And by the end of it, the crowd were like, this is awesome. And it was amazing. And I remember saying after that, God, like, Charlotte is so good at this. She understands how to work the crowd into a frenzy. And I think it's slightly a difference between the men and the women that we treat differently, but as particularly Charlotte, I think she's become Meghan Markle to everyone. It's like she just can't do anything right. We do this to her, and we will let it slide with other people, like especially the guys. Like when CM Punk and Drew were going back and forth, and Drew was doing his stuff on social media, taking pictures with Jungle Boy, and then like, you know, or when that time when CM Punk said to him like, you know, like, you're the chosen one by who? Go on, say his name. Yeah. There is no way that was scripted, and you could see it all over Drew's face. But he had him in a corner.
Drew let it happen. Like, Drew at that point could have jumped on him and then said something back, but
the point being, it was unscripted, and we went, my God, he's so good, isn't he? He just gets to the truth, and like he blends that truth in, and that's what we love, and da-da-da-da-da. So I don't have an issue with people going off script. Like that. That is not unless it happens like all the time and it becomes AEW, you know. Well, you know, that needs a little more control.
Yeah.
But WWE's okay with them going off script. This was messy. Yes, the delivery was messy.
That's probably the biggest issue.
That's the biggest issue. Like, I totally agree. I think going off script, it does sometimes give us moments of magic.
Yeah.
Like that Drew Punk thing was brilliant. I just think it was the messiness of it that felt odd. I think, and this might sound like a really over the top thing to say, but I feel slightly worried about Charlotte Flair at the moment, just because
mentally
she just feels so unsure of herself. And I haven't seen her for a long time, but I interviewed her a lot in the past and felt like I was sort of getting to know her, and she's a very emotional, quite delicate, sensitive personality. That's what I got from her anyway. And she was on this talk show earlier on in the week where she was breaking down about the marriage breaking down and her confidence about coming back from the injury. And I know it was an obvious pivot, as you said, going from coming back as a babyface, even though the vignettes were quite heelish bringing her in, and then suddenly she had to pivot. But something just feels very off with her.
I think
currently.
I think she's in a very vulnerable place.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's the key. She feels vulnerable, and I think if you compare what happened on this promo and just the general air of the feeling around the promo, compare it to what she did with Rhea Ripley the night after the Rumble.
Yeah.
Which, yes, there was that pivot early on in the promo, but then when she was doing the face-to-face stuff with Rhea, it was sensational to the point where we on the show said that should actually be the match for Mania. Like, that's got me so excited about a match. But it was done in a really controlled, very clever kind of blueprint promo kind of way that we're talking about with John Cena and Cody. Compare, you know, and she made Rhea feel like a bigger star, and it was just excellent. And there was elements of truth to it. Compare that to what we saw Friday night in Chicago, just night and day.
To your point then, when that promo happened, the world didn't know she was divorced. It wasn't out there. And like she said on that interview, her biggest fear about the divorce now is people knowing she's divorced again.
Yeah.
So it probably plays straight into what you guys are saying around her insecurities and vulnerability now.
And that's why that 0 and 3 thing, if that thing wasn't planned, like I know that like the initial thing that I heard from people was like, oh my God, Charlotte is so unprofessional. It feels that way because she's a multiple-time world champion. But like you say, James, she's a vulnerable person right now who, you know, there's the stuff about her brother, obviously, which has, you know, led her into like properly committing to wrestling. So, you know, so I believe she has had a horrible year where she's been injured for a long time, had to work herself back, and now this divorce. And she's talked about it, and she broke down crying. And it's like, there is a line, obviously, between what's kayfabe, you know, what we're watching as Charlotte Flair and the person who is Ashley. And she's playing a villain now in WWE. On that show, she was showing the real person.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so if Tiffy's going to go like, oh, so you think you're all this, but then you're crying on that show, which is it? You're 0 and 3. That's like, it's not quite playing by the rules of kayfabe and WWE. Now, I'm okay with it if they're okay with it.
Yeah.
But I think they both kind of went at each other. It was entertaining to watch, and I'm on the edge of my seat now for the feud, which is better than it was before.
Yeah.
I hope that Charlotte is okay, and I'm just not prepared for the argument to go, Charlotte's so unprofessional, if we're not also going to say the same about Tiff.
No, totally. And I think people are so very quick to dismiss this as, oh, she's burying another talent.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't buy into that. I don't think,
likewise,
in reality, backstage, I don't think she's that kind of person. I genuinely don't. And you mentioned Reed, her brother, like, we should never forget, like, this was his dream.
Yeah.
And she is doing this all for him. And obviously, you know, she's obviously become accustomed to the lifestyle and is being paid handsomely and all those things.
Course,
and I'm sure she absolutely adores it. But it all comes from this love for her brother. I don't know. There's something about Charlotte I just think is so fascinating, so interesting.
And also, I think there's a moment where she did. Don't think she was rattled at first. I think she was playing that, like, the crowd were booing so loud that she did that, like, take the microphone down and allow the crowd noise.
Yeah.
She was playing that, and then after that, it kind of she had a line because she kept returning to that same first few words of the line. So there was a line prepared, but then she kept taking the micro, and then it started to lose control. And then when it got to that point, don't forget, she said, "Okay, Tiff, you have the last word." Was what she said. She didn't start going in hard. She went, "You have the last word," which is when Tiff went for the 0 and 3 and all of that. And I think at that point she was just like in such a like, I just said you have the last word and you did that. Like okay, Kaiser's in my DMs. She just bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that it got messy at the end.
Yeah, it did. And what I hope is that from all this sort of controversy and everyone talking about it, I hope WWE can take this, harness it, and turn it into something more professional and sort of well structured, but still as heated next week. Because it's like, you want to build on this controversy and go, we all saw what happened last week.
We've still got 2 more SmackDowns.
Yeah. But you know, they're going to be face to face again.
Imagine,
and then we'll be. I've got goosebumps thinking about it, and we're excited about it. But if they can do it in a more let's work together and actually do this properly, then they could start making money out of this.
Regarding like the graps side of it all, like
graps,
I felt like Tiffany, her performance, even when Charlotte was giving her the time to get her lines out, wasn't great. It almost looked to me like Tiffany had an earpiece in her ear and she was taking lines and says her bit, the crowd responds, she walked away, she readjusted herself, she came back. Like, I didn't really understand Tiffany's style of delivery in this. And yeah, I just feel like it was almost like watching Roman Reigns against John Cena back in like 2016.
Suckering succotash.
Yeah, it just like Charlotte she, you know, although yes, it wasn't the greatest performance from her, but she's so sure of herself next to Tiffany, who we know the quality and the potential there, but she just didn't bring it on the day. And I was saying, like, I would give Charlotte the title at WrestleMania. Because I don't think Tiffany's ready.
And
that's some real heat.
Yeah, and then we have Monster Heel.
Yeah.
Did I just say suckering succotash, by the way?
I think
I'm
you
not
did.
sure.
It's suffering
succotash. Yeah.
Sorry for saying suckering succotash. What a low point.
We don't need to spend loads of time on it, but like, for example, what is your and I don't know what the right and wrong is of this, but what is your general view on like when Cena commented to The Rock that he had his promo written on his arm?
It was just like a moment.
Oh, it's just an
thing. Yeah,
well, I loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
But this is my point. It's like, I think for the men, we kind of, there's room for them to do it and we kind of let them get away with it. And it's viewed as, oh, God, he went a bit real then, didn't he? And that's the last we hear of it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're all going, that was unprofessional. She should never be on TV again. You know, they're burying.
It is because, to your point, the women wrongly are put under more of a microscope than the men, and they're judged more harshly. And not that we're judging them particularly harshly, but you sort of break down all the moments of a big kind of mainstream promo like this to the point where, I mean, well, ultimately the execution wasn't like a Cena or a Rock.
No.
You know, so there is a difference. But yeah, I think the women are judged more harshly.
And particularly Charlotte. I think because of who she is and the amount of titles she's had, and let's be honest, if we were all the writers of WWE and she's that good and her dad's Ric Flair and he holds the record for titles, we would be going for that story. We would be writing in that story about her heading towards breaking her own dad's record one day.
Yeah.
We would be. That's not her fault.
Yeah.
She's just really good and her dad is Ric Flair. So, but I think there's this thing with the fans where she has to be flawless. Otherwise she will get torn apart by the fans because she's Ric Flair's daughter.
It's very true.
Whereas, do you know who else is a Nepo baby?
Who's that?
The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Jey and Jimmy Uso, Randy Orton. They're all Nepo babies, but they're all men. And Charlotte's a woman, and she has to be flawless or she'll get torn apart.
Yeah. That's a great point. Glad to have you back, Kev.
First 10-minute rant. Don't mention Punk.
Just don't mention Punk. Jacob Fatu defeated Braun Strowman in a last man standing match. So he becomes number 1 contender for the US title at Mania. So Jacob Fatu, this was a fun match, by the way.
It was.
Fun TV match. So Jacob Fatu will face LA Knight 1-on-1 in Vegas. Not what we're expecting. I guess the Fatal 4-Way goes to the IC title with the lads on Raw, which we'll talk about. Excited for this? Jacob and LA Knight?
I'm excited to see Jacob crowned because I think that's what has to happen at this point.
I think it's got to happen.
Yeah, you can't really put him in a title match and pin him with... he's so over. The crowd went mental when he stood up at 10 and, beat Strowman. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
And do you think he lifts the title at Mania and then you get that moment between him and Solo and Solo's like... Ugh.
Yeah, then maybe you use the title and, build to him and Solo for the title somewhere else down the line.
And a big epic blood feud between those two, like we've been talking about, could actually elevate the US title even more.
Exactly that.
Okay. Motor City Machine Guns, they on SmackDown defeated DIY in a WWE Tag Team Championship number 1 contenders match. So as a result... Motor City Machine Guns won the right to challenge Street Profits. Has that been announced at Mania?
No. I think it's just on SmackDown.
Now, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Mania match.
Because this was
the title match is not going to be a Mania match, you mean?
No. I think it's literally just a SmackDown thing. I think they're just working their way Street Profits through the division, and then as we get closer to Mania in the next 2 episodes, I guess, of SmackDown, they'll just put them all together into a Mania match.
Well, so this is a nice email.
Big ladder match.
To your point, this is a nice email from Paul Shelock. He says, we know Triple H likes running things back on occasion. Is there any way we see a TLC triple threat match at Mania with Street Profits, Machine Guns, and DIY? If any 3 teams can be the modern day Hardys, Edge and Christian, and Dudleys, surely these 3 teams can be.
It's a good shout.
That would be lovely stuff.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Yeah, I'd enjoy that.
And I think Mania, it doesn't really have any sort of big gimmick matches yet.
Not yet.
Does it?
No, there's no ladder match yet.
No ladders, no cages, no...
Nothing, yeah.
What year was the first TLC? I want to say 2000.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think that was the triangle ladder match, remember? And then the year after they done the actual TLC, they called it the TLC, but the year before they called it the triangle ladder match.
And that was 2000?
I want to say 2000, yeah.
25 years since that match.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
A big ode to those teams.
Yeah.
That's got to be
Unless
planned.
they're going to bring the Hardys in for that, are they? Is that
They spoke about bringing the Hardys in around spring, summer. That's what they've said, so...
They're no spring chickens, though, are they?
No,
I don't.
Yeah, I'm not
they're
sure.
the TNA Tag Team Champions right now, so...
Yeah.
Maybe.
SmackDown GM Nick Aldis, who we'll definitely talk about in a moment, he made an announcement, Naomi versus Jade Cargill for Mania, so sort of as expected. Excited for this one, Kev?
I am.
And have you enjoyed this of meaty story for the women that doesn't revolve around a title?
Yeah, it's what we've been asking for, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's what we've been saying. We need more storyline for the women. That's not just like here's a title, because they've made some new titles for the women to make it more interesting. Are those titles going to be on the card at Mania?
Right now,
no.
which is bad, I think.
Yeah,
really bad.
But
but I agreed with last week. You guys were talking about like that promo vignette from Naomi.
Naomi.
It's phenomenal.
Really,
really, it's the best I've ever seen Naomi.
Yep.
And Jade is Jade. Yeah, it's going to be great. They've built this really well.
I think it should be good.
She came out, Naomi, came out this week and said she's been waiting 16 years for a story like this.
Wow.
Like, where she just sink her teeth into and, you know, away from a title or anything like that and just do something different.
I always come back to once you did an interview, James, with Natalia.
Yeah.
And she made the point at the time, like, some women were getting criticised for not being as good on the mic or whatever. And she says, we just need to be given practice time. It's like game time in football. Sometimes you just need to rack up the minutes.
You need the reps.
Yeah, you need the reps.
Yeah.
And it's like we need to be given promo spots in the ring and we need to be given stories to get our teeth into that's not just, yeah, girlfriend, or here's the world title. You know, we need something to get our teeth into to get those reps to improve.
Yeah.
And that always like stuck with me. And like Naomi saying, I've been waiting 16 years for this. Like,
well, just on that, imagine, like, kudos to, I'll tell you what, regarding an email that came in earlier, let's do an impromptu round of applause for Naomi.
Yeah.
Because imagine sitting tight for 16 years waiting for something big and juicy to happen like this.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, she, out of anyone on the roster, she really deserves... I mean, Natty's another one.
Yeah.
Natty's another one.
For
you
sure.
mentioned Natty. Like, she's a great performer. I feel like she can do great promo stuff. We saw glimpses of it against Becky in 2019 in the build-up to SummerSlam, I think it was. Like, these talents can do stuff. And
give them these stories.
Yeah, knowing that these stories are now slowly trickling through.
Give one of them Paul Heyman or something.
I remember saying back in the day, Bailey, when she was Hugger Bailey, should be with Paul Heyman. I thought it was such a wild combination. It would be quite fun. Kevin Owens, let's talk about this. So there were rumours abound in the build up to SmackDown on Friday that he had a neck injury. He would miss Mania. It turns out he's very much going to miss Mania. He's out, according to reports, for at least 6 to 12 months. So he said during a recent interview, KO revealed 2 things happened that really jarred his neck whilst wrestling matches in January. He didn't know exactly when it happened, but one match was against Rey Mysterio on the 17th of January on SmackDown, and the other was the following week against Jey Uso on the 24th broadcast. So he didn't specify exactly which match was responsible for the injury, but he knows that it was those bouts because he'd had an MRI in December and no neck injuries were flagged. With that in mind, if he was injured in January... And obviously they didn't know, but he worked Rumble on the 1st of Feb against Cody in the ladder match, which, I mean, was one of the most brutal things we've seen in WWE. Followed by, on March the 1st, Elimination Chamber with the non-sanctioned match against Sami Zayn. This poor guy, like, going through those 2 brutal affairs with a neck injury that, unbeknownst to him and WWE, was already there. Is pretty frightening. So he came out and announced that he would miss Mania, and he thanked the fans. He sort of didn't, I mean, you could tell he was emotional, but it wasn't like he wasn't in tears. He kept it very short. He didn't want to, you know, it didn't feel in any way indulgent. He was in and out pretty quick. Randy Orton came out, made his entrance. They just stared at each other before Randy got in the ring and Kevin Owens walked out. Before we get on to what we saw with Randy Orton, thoughts on Kevin Owens? Anything to add? It's just, I mean, it's just very sad, right?
Mekz.
Why are you smiling?
I don't want to sound insensitive.
We had a little chat about it just before we started recording, just before you came in. We were talking about Kevin Owens.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to sound insensitive. It looks like everything is pointing towards this being genuine, but
you think Kevin it'll work?
Because it's Kevin Owens. I just can't take it at face value. And I feel like as a fan base, we have all just taken it like at face value, like, oh, you know, rest up Kevin, you'll be back sort of thing. He's done stuff like this before. He is such a tricky customer when it comes to these kind of things. Like, and the Nick Aldis stuff, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, looks good, but I just think that there is maybe a 1%, a 0.5% that he is going to run out and absolutely smash Randy Orton on Friday. And he's fine.
And the Bret Hart jacket is a similar colour to salmon. And
yeah, I don't know. I'm just not all the way there yet to buy it. But if he is her, obviously, I hope he gets better soon.
You're an insensitive Well, listen. If that is indeed the case, I mean that's quite fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always it's a funny thing, isn't it, with wrestling? Like if you feign a really bad injury and you really get the crowd on side and you're like, this is me out. You sort of, I always feel there's a part of me that feels like talents shouldn't jinx things by lying about that kind of stuff. But that said, I mean, that would be a hell of an angle.
He's 2 weeks out from Mania. He's wrestling Randy Orton. He's not wrestling like a ladder match or anything crazy. And he's done those matches already, like you said. Like, I just feel there's a 1% chance he's got us all. He's got us all, and he's just gonna
1%
kaboom Randy Orton on Friday, and we're gonna be like, yeah, there he is. There's Kevin Owens. Like,
I mean, maybe I'd be surprised.
That's fair.
I think
it sounds, like you said, he came across pretty well, and there's reports backing it up. So I'm probably wrong, but because it's Kevin Owens, if it was anyone else, I'll say it's probably genuine. Because it's Kevin Owens, I just can't let it slide completely.
Well, listen, because I love Kevin Owens, and obviously I wish no ill will or injury on anyone. I hope you're right.
Oh yeah, we hope it's a work.
Yeah,
we hope it's a work. That means it's all right.
It'll be fun.
But if it is a work, then I'm being worked. Yeah, because I did believe him.
Well, yeah, I'm totally.
And I'm gutted for him.
He may not be all right. The neck injury might actually be there, but Randy Orton, as they say, is one of the safest guys. Like, you could surely get a WrestleMania match done with Randy Orton and then take your long break afterwards.
Yeah.
2 weeks to go.
It's still wrestling, though, isn't it? It's still some pretty heavy stuff.
I agree, but like I said, it's probably genuine. But I just feel because it is Kevin Owens, I just refuse to take it at face value.
Okay. But the thing is, my pushback on that would be the story thus far has been built around him having his head punted off. That's
a good point.
If he comes back. Oh, well, I guess he could, if he's faked the injury completely. But it's just like, if we do know there is something wrong with his neck, but it was part of a plan to then attack Randy, if then at Mania Randy punts his head off, that's a really bad look on Randy. So I don't know. All in all, I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
I hope he's okay.
I probably am, but yeah.
And if he is going to be out for, 1 year, 2 years, forever, whatever, then I'm absolutely gutted for him.
Well,
he's really special.
So the report says between 6 to 12 months.
Right.
I mean, it's a long time. He's been such a consistently phenomenal performer for a decade plus for WWE. Yeah. So it is sad, and he would be missed from TV.
But Nick Aldis, though.
But from this sadness, is there a positive? Nick Aldis, who, like Mekz, you and I and Skillet spoke to him in, was it Glasgow?
Scotland, yeah.
We had a great interview with him. He definitely wants to lace up the boots. He is loving this opportunity of being SmackDown GM, but we know where Nick Aldis belongs. Yeah, does his best work. And that's in the ring, behind the mic, cutting promos, phenomenal talent. And for so many fans who haven't seen his previous work, when he finally rips that suit off and they see his physique.
Yeah.
I saw him wandering around backstage when we were doing some interviews a while back. And it was just like...
Why are you perving on Nick Aldis backstage?
because he looks like a Greek god.
Literally.
That's why. Do you remember, Ben? Yeah. He just wandered past in a towel and we were like, jeez. I don't even like men in that way, but jeez. But do you know what I mean? Like, people are going to pay attention when he rips that suit off. And could this be light at the end of the tunnel with this bad KO situation? Like, is this an opportunity for him to want payback on Randy, for Randy taking it out on... And they've got history as well. I think previously, a couple of years ago, Nick Aldis fined Randy Orton for...
He fined Randy Orton 50 grand for RKO, and Randy Orton paid him 100 grand. And said, keep the 50 because it's going to happen again.
For the next time.
Yeah.
That is superb.
Brilliant.
So there is a little bit of a story they could tell. I think Randy Orton versus Nick Aldis, to me, is a bit of a... I mean, maybe dream match is a stretch, but it's a big deal.
Yeah, little bonus. Little WrestleMania bonus.
Yeah, a massive bonus.
Yeah.
Even with a
massive
week or...
boner for you.
I I'm not going to lie.
Randy Orton and Nick Aldis.
That's meat on meat. Meat slapping meat. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So if creative plans, you know, if they're currently working this up over the next few days and we see something progress between these two Friday night, that would get my juices going, as I think we've firmly established.
Yeah, no, it'll definitely be a good match. And like you said, Nick Aldis has done a lot of good work in wrestling. Like he carried NWA at a time when nobody cared about that product. Like, and yeah, made that belt relevant again to a degree. I remember his work, which I said to him at the time as a gladiator on ITV. Well, like, yeah, this is good, a really good spot for him. And imagine your WWE debut at WrestleMania against Randy Orton.
Well, exactly. And to be honest, this is the kind of debut he deserves. Like, I really think, like, throw him in under the big spotlight on the grand stage against a legend, and he will shine because he's phenomenal. And if people haven't seen his NWA promos on, what's the show called? Power?
Power, yeah.
With, like, 4 Rs. An unbelievable talker.
Yeah.
Like, cutting some of the best promos I saw. Like, it was like pre-pandemic, wasn't it? It was a good few years ago.
He literally carried a company that nobody wanted to watch and revived that old school NWA belt. Like, yeah. It was all him.
TaxAct knows filing taxes can be confusing, so we have live experts on hand who can help answer any questions you may have. Questions like, can I claim my SUV as my home office if I answer work emails in my car? If I adopted 12 dogs this year, can I list them as dependents? And, am I doing this right or am I doing this very, very wrong? Our experts have the answers to those questions and many others. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
We all have that dream trip we've been wishing we could go on, but too often life, or usually price, gets in the way. That's why Priceline is here to help you turn your dream trip into reality. With up to 60% off hotels and up to 50% off flights, you can book everything you need for your next adventure. Don't just dream about that next trip. Book it with Priceline. Download the Priceline app or visit Priceline.com and book your next trip today.
Go to your happy price, Priceline.
K-pop Demon Hunters, Haja Boys breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
You don't wash your jersey during a win streak. You don't switch seats when your team's up big. And you definitely don't shave during the playoffs. When things are working, you don't change them. That's why when you drink Jägermeister, you drink it ice cold. Anything else? Well, that'd just be bad luck. Drink it cold or don't drink it at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold. Drink responsibly. Jägermeister liqueur, 35% alcohol by volume. Imported by Mast Jägermeister, U.S. White Plains, New York.
Incredible. Great. Who was the champion after him? Is that Fetus or something?
Fetus?
Oh, Fetus.
Big.
The dinosaur guy. The guy that was, who's the guy who used to walk around with Naomi as a dinosaur in WWE.
The Funkasaurus.
The Funkasaurus. He didn't win it directly after him, but he won it.
He had big sideburns.
Rupert Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch. Rupert
Murdoch.
Yeah, Trevor Murdoch.
Trevor Murdoch.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got Fetus out of Trevor Murdoch.
He won it. Yeah, Cody won it and then dropped it back to Nick Aldis as well because Cody wanted to win the title that his dad won.
And it was Cody and Nick at
the first ever All In,
right?
Yeah.
In Chicago.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Right, CM Punk. He cashed in his favour by demanding that Paul Heyman be in his corner at WrestleMania. Mekz, you called it.
Mekz got it.
He got it right. Yeah. Before putting Roman Reigns to sleep in the closing moments of the show. So let's talk about this segment. What were your thoughts? Did you enjoy it?
The Seth Rollins encounter with Paul Heyman backstage. I know a lot of everyone's probably thinking now, especially after Raw, that, you know, what if Paul Heyman and Rollins becomes a thing?
That's the chat.
But that first initial one at SmackDown, I thought was very, you know, where Seth Rollins was like to Heyman, like, don't worry about it. Like, this is going to work itself out. I thought even then he was showing a bit of a caring side towards Paul Heyman. The segment itself, I thought it was really good, was really strong. I was waiting for that maniacal laugh from Roman Reigns when obviously CM Punk comes out with what the favour is, which we got, and then Paul Heyman saying, you know, that's my friend, like I can't do it, sort of thing. And even the little story where Seth Rollins was laughing at the whole situation, like I knew this was gonna be it. And then when CM Punk attacked Roman, you saw in the back Rollins change, sort of thing. It's still his brother. Like it's still his brother at heart, sort of thing. Like, and furthermore, I hate CM Punk, so like, why wouldn't I attack this guy, even though they didn't get to fisticuffs? But a really strong segment, I think, from those guys.
It was really good, and obviously CM Punk opened the show in Chicago with a very impassioned promo about, you know, he wasn't meant to be here, and I mean, I almost don't want to talk about it because I know that Kev's going to start ranting and raving about. Do you want to just say, how are you feeling about CM Punk? Because actually it's interesting because you haven't been on the show for a while.
I know, and I'm always on the weeks where he does something where I'm like, oh, for God's sake. And then we'll be texting on the WhatsApp group like, I thought Punk was great. I thought he did this. Or I'm really on board with CM Punk now. And then he'll say something ridiculous and hypocritical. And I'll be on GP and go, he said this, for God's sake. Like,
what did he say that annoyed you?
No, to be honest.
And try and keep it short.
No, it didn't annoy me that much. Like the first part, there was the opening promo and then the end segment.
Yeah.
The opening promo was the side of CM Punk that I'm a bit about. It was fine, but I understand why he was doing it. He was at home in Chicago. He's the white meat baby face. You know, he's like everything is. He sort of did what he had to do. You know, there's a couple of things in there that he said that, you know, just things about, you know, they said I shouldn't be here, but the idea that I'm not on board with is the idea that they said I shouldn't be here, but I'm such a fighter that I carry on. That narrative is the thing that I always say. He was like champion for how long and how many title reigns. He was allowed a pipe bomb storyline, a storyline with John Cena where he was allowed to leave the company with the belt. He was allowed so much by WWE, and then he left. It's the opposite of the narrative he's saying. However, like, I get it.
Yeah.
He was in Chicago. He's playing to the Chicago fans. I get it. That bit I can sort of take or leave. The end segment I thought was great from all of them. The three wrestlers and Paul Heyman. I thought they all played it to perfection. I loved that Roman Reigns is sort of leaning just heel of the centre again.
It's like Skillet said, he's not a babyface.
Exactly. Skillet is right on this. Like, he has never come in and gone and done that big babyface turn. He's still Roman, and he's leaning more heelish again. He's that sort of dominant, like, I run things. And the storyline is actually, I mean, we might get into this, or I don't know, the whole thing about it being the main event. The storyline is that Punk is in this main event because he's now dancing with Roman Reigns. Like, that's a narrative that keeps getting pushed. Like, he is that big of a deal, Roman. So he's leaning into that. I thought, like, to your point, Mekz, Seth was fantastic in that. I thought there was a shift in Seth this week where it's like, before, I'm just angry and mad, he doesn't deserve it, you know. And then this week it's like, okay, now I've got a plan.
He's gained some perspective.
It's like, this is happening, I'm going to go and do what I do. I'm the architect. I now have a plan of how to go about it. And I think he said something to that effect, I've got a plan. I thought Punk played it really well in that when it was happening, that thing of like, is Paul Heyman going to say yes or no to Punk? He was just looking at him, and it feels very odd for me to be saying this, but like, in those few moments, it was just like the child in him going. He was looking at him with his eyes like, please, this is my moment. Please come and do this. You know, like, and I thought it was excellent, actually. And you know, Heyman just being Heyman, like, oh, I can't do it, oh my God. And, you know, like, starting to cry. He knows what he's got to do. He's so brilliant at everything he does. Like, from all of them, it was brilliant. It's really intriguing. I think there is something in possibly Seth winning and leaving with Paul Heyman at the end of all of this. Roman, you know, is leaning heel. And for Heyman to not walk away with Punk at the end of it, if that is to happen, remember, the narrative is like, you know, you're my best friend in this business. And Seth was saying to him, like, he didn't He didn't bring you along with him. He didn't take you with him when he left. He didn't take you with him when he came back. The only time that he's bringing you in is when he gains something out of it. He's not interested in you. He's into what he gets. And what did Punk say when he first came back? I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
Make money, yeah.
Right. And now he's going, you're my best friend, da-da-da-da-da. So there's a lot of interlocking story going on, which could lead to something really exciting.
Yeah, it's some good stuff. I'm excited by it. I know people were sort of questioning the build-up and should it be a triple threat and is Seth a spare part, etc., etc. By the way, Roman Reigns does need to work on his laugh. It's not. It's
OTT. It's very.
Yeah. It's OTT for the OTC.
Yeah.
David's emailed.
A particularly good one.
Producer Ben Butterfingers over there. Thank you. David's emailed. He said, hello, you. Just wanted to give Paul Heyman his props for the promo on SmackDown in Chicago. I think the favour in and of itself is a bit weak, and also props to Mekz for calling it last week. However, the build-up to the reveal was perfectly done on the night, and Heyman responding to everything, I love this, Heyman responding to everything Reigns said with, yes, my tribal chief, made the payoff what it was when he suddenly had to then say, no, my tribal chief, I cannot do that. He's truly the greatest mind in the business. Mark Spearing says... is Heyman being in Punk's corner that big of a deal? And Seth spare part Rollins discuss, which will lead us to talk about Raw in a moment. I did feel that. I did feel that Seth felt like a spare part, but I think, as you say, it's sort of unlocking a lot of interesting stories.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's a beautiful thing, this idea that Punk wants Heyman in his corner. Because when we came to Raw and they did the highlight vignette from this SmackDown segment, they included footage from 2013 from that episode of Raw when Heyman said about, you will be a WrestleMania main eventer. Long-term storytelling. Obviously they hadn't been planning it since 2013, but I love that they're diving into the archives. They're remembering what promos they did over a decade ago, and they're using it as ammunition to tell a really strong story.
In that promo, Heyman also said to CM Punk in 2013, and when you are a WrestleMania main eventer, I will be the one to walk you down the aisle to the ring. He also said that back in 2013. So this is pretty much like, what do you call it, a premonition? Like, he said it, and now it's happening, and now CM Punk, he wants, Paul Heyman to fulfill what he said. So
it's a bit like the bracelet thing with the Drew and Punk feud. It's like, we discussed it, I remember at the time, like when it first came about, I was a bit, it's a bracelet. What are we doing here? Like, it's a silly bracelet. But then the storyline makes it like, look, the fact is it's important to him. It's of significant value to him, and I think the fact is in this, it's important to Punk for Heyman to be in his corner. It's something that's very important to him. Which is why I liked that bit when Punk was just staring at him, and it was just like a family member. He was just going like, come home, come home. And he just wasn't doing much, but he was just looking at him, waiting for him to say yes, that he will be in his corner. That's what I like about it.
I really like it, and I like the fact that it's not, because we always worried, it's like, what if this favour is going to be Punk asking Heyman to screw Roman, and something that, Punk asking for something he didn't deserve, because that wouldn't have shed a very good light on Punk. Whereas it just being this personal sort of old friendship, I want you in my corner, I think it's perfect.
Roman's on Raw next week, and I think that's when we'll probably see the devastating side of it, as to now, like you said, Punk's got what he wanted from it, but now how much is Roman going to lose from not having his wise man next to him, sort of thing? Is he going to come out all braggadocious and tell us that, oh, it's fine, I can still do this on myself, sort of thing? And even there were some lines in that promo where Roman was like, I plucked you, Paul Heyman, from obscurity. I was like, hold on. Paul Heyman saved your career, literally. Like, he plucked you from obscurity, put you on the island of relevancy, but Roman and his manipulating ways has flipped it immediately. So Roman's promo, I'm looking forward to that on Raw this coming week.
So let's just dive into Raw. So 3 days after Smackers, so CM Punk cashed in the favour, demanded Heyman was in his corner, drilled Roman with the GTS. But so on Raw, Seth Rollins gets in Heyman's face. And this was like the main event slot of Monday Night Raw. Saying, as you said, Kev, like Roman doesn't love or respect you, Punk's not your best friend, listed all the reasons why. And again, it was like truth bombs from Seth. Yeah. It was in the old Drew way, he wasn't telling any lies. But then the bit that I don't really like, because it doesn't really make sense to me, Seth talked about removing Paul Heyman from the equation. And that was a move I didn't really understand, because why would removing Paul Heyman, a complicating factor for both Punk and Roman, that could be seen as a distraction to Punk and Roman, why would that help Seth? Why would Seth taking out Paul Heyman help Seth? So at that point, I was like, oh, is Seth a bit of a spare part here? Are they just trying to bring him in, but actually it doesn't really make sense?
But by the end of it, you saw that he was playing him to gain what turned out to be his favour. He was basically threatening him to, like, we all know what I'm talking about. I can take you. This is a tough spot for you. You're between Roman and CM Punk. I can take you out of it. Just one stomp and it's done, and you won't be at Mania. You don't have to deal with any of this. You don't have to choose sides. And then he sort of went as if he was going to stomp him at the end and didn't. And he goes, now you owe me a favour. Because Paul Heyman didn't want to get stomped. You know, like, so it's like he's threatening him, he's bullying him into, I'm gonna kick the hell out of you. Yeah. But then chose not to. Now you owe me.
So when Raw went off the air, I did love that line from Seth, now you owe me a favour. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, this is complicated and juicy.
And I just love the way they drop little things in. Like, whether it's going to happen or not, they're making us talk about it. In the fact that, like, it started out earlier on where he was like doing the thing with his phone, Paul Heyman, about, I'll say yes, anything for you, CM Punk, I think it was, or whatever. And then he turned around as the car came towards him and went, my tribal chief! And out walked Seth Rollins. And I thought, and now I've seen like a few people going wild on it, where there's a few little things like on social media, and they're looking for all the little clues. Apparently, I think it was that segment, or it was something with Paul Heyman and Seth, but I think it was that segment. Up in the background, that truck has turned up again with Cena and Austin on it, that turned up last year when it was like the Rock and Cody thing when he was beating him up, that signalled like Cena's going to end up getting involved, and people are like, is Austin going to make an appearance? But the fact is, whether that happens or not, it's like they drop in little bits here and there to make us talk about it. I love it.
Little Easter eggs. Yeah. Little Easter eggs for Easter. Brian from Dublin has emailed. He said, hello you, hope all's well with you gents. Keep up the great work and entertainment you continue to provide on a weekly basis. I was wondering what you lads think of the following scenario for the main event triple threat at Mania. Seth Rollins continues to plant seeds of doubt in Roman's mind about the relationship between Punk and Paul Heyman. Late on in the match, Roman finally relents to him and they work together to take Punk out of the equation. Maybe even an old school Shield powerbomb through the announce table. Love.
I think that's got to happen, hasn't it?
On the newly reinforced table as well. And then as the camera shows Roman standing over Punk, the chair shot in the back from Seth as he double crosses him yet again. Yeah. Multiple chair shots, stomp on the outside and a super stomp in the ring, and Seth gets the win. His reward for being MVP at last year's Mania, a heel turn and Roman stabbed in the back by him, just like all those years ago. Thoughts? Cheers, Brian. So,
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it builds into this idea of Seth and Heyman. Heyman being with Seth would revitalize. I mean, not that he needs revitalizing, but in terms of injecting some
something new.
Yeah, something new into Seth's character. Him being paired with Heyman feels very interesting.
Yeah.
Not that I think Seth needs a mouthpiece, particularly, but just in terms of story.
But it makes the story interesting.
There's something interesting. Yeah. Would that then mean we do see a proper babyface Roman?
Who knows?
I don't know. Interesting scenario, though.
Yeah. I think I definitely agree that Seth has to win this match, though.
Yeah, I agree.
I think maybe he pins Punk. You want him to win?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I want him to win, and I think he deserves it, and he needs to win. Like, for anyone else, I'm unless you're using this as a means for CM Punk, if CM Punk wins, then it uses it to motivate, towards a world title match. That's the only real reason Punk should win this. Roman should not win. But yeah, I would prefer if Seth Rollins got the win here.
And we want to see the what you guys were talking about the other week. Like, we all want to see the Punk and Cena going into Money in the Bank, don't we? That's what we want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish that was happening in Boston. Sorry, either Boston or Chicago, but it's happening in LA, right?
Yeah. But even the Backlash after Mania is in St. Louis, which is where Randy Orton's from, if they want to go back down the well of John Cena, Randy Orton.
I don't know if I can handle another John Cena.
And neither can I. That's why, I'm saying it because it's part of the history, but I don't particularly want to see it. But
although
there's a lot of stops on this road, basically.
I think we said it previously on the show, but a babyface Randy versus a heel Cena is crazy.
And the current
unique.
situation does leave, like, if it's not going to be Randy and Nick Aldis at Mania, it does leave a little sort of doorway to Randy getting involved in that match because he's friends with Cody. It leaves him, does he get involved in that match somehow?
He
and
literally
it starts
said to Cody
Cena
the other week, like, I'm coming after this belt. So if John Cena wins it, then he's already said it, sort of thing. So
that's true. Let's move on. Penta defeated Dominic Mysterio on Raw. So after some 4-way shenanigans post-match, which included, by the way, one of the greatest spears I've ever seen in my life.
Sensational.
Bron Breakker hitting
Carlito.
In the R-way. So sped down the R-way like a demon.
Carlito.
And this is what, and I'm sorry, people talk about Edge having a good, Cope having a good spear. Nonsense.
Yeah.
A spear is when you dive into the person. Bron Breakker not only dove into the middle of Carlito, cutting him in half. Somebody posted a picture of an apple cut in half and said, "This is Carlito." Really made me laugh. But he not only did he dive into him and took him out, but he also somersaulted.
The rotation.
He just flipped all the way around. Like, it was absolutely phenomenal. One of the greatest spears I've ever seen. But what we're left with is the fatal 4-way, as we predicted, for the Intercontinental Championship at Mania. Penta, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, all up against the champ Bron Breakker. Described by Michael Cole on commentary as potentially the sleeper hit of the weekend going into Mania. Like, it could be a stunning old match.
I hope so. I hope so because we've grown up loving the Intercontinental title. Like, it was a big thing to us, in the days of like Brett and Perfect and or Brett and Roddy Piper, like those Intercontinental title matches, were so important. And now I feel like we don't need to get into it, but that whole thing that you read out my message, I think it was last week, about the idea of this triple threat main eventing and how it kind of devalues the other titles. I feel like the world heavy, because of all that, the world heavyweight title, Gunther's one, has sort of become the Intercontinental title now. And therefore, the Intercontinental title and the US titles have sort of become like the European title.
Less of,
Do you know what I mean? It's just, or the Cruiserweight title.
The 24/7 championship.
Yeah, well, not quite that far. But I feel a bit, it's just not as important as it used to be. But if these guys have an absolute banger of a match, then, we'll all get invested.
And it will be. And I think actually over the last couple of years, we've really seen, lest we forget, Drew, Sheamus, Gunther
one of the matches
for the IC title match. One of the up there with one of the best WrestleMania matches ever, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, in the conversation, certainly. So I think they've done a lot to improve the rankings of the IC title. But yeah, I think just not a lot of story other than really Dominic and Finn.
Yeah.
There's some nice moments. Finn looked Dom in the face and said, a lot of people say you can't get it done. You don't have the killer instinct, that you're a loser. I don't think that. It was a lot of fun. But I think, we were sort of saying Dominic has to win this.
Dominic has to win by pinning Finn Balor. That is how it has to happen.
Yeah.
And to your point, Kev, I don't think it then pushes the IC title any higher up the card with a Dominic Mysterio IC run, but there'll be a lot of story around it.
It does.
Whereas
make it more
Bron
interesting,
Breakker has been having some really fun matches but there's just nothing to it. It's just like, who's next sort of thing. So, yeah, this could be a nice little direction. And good for Dom, because Dom is a sleeper hit of a superstar on that roster. He's so good, so yeah.
And it's only a matter of time before Bron Breakker moves up the card into more main event-y type areas.
Would have thought so.
Yeah.
Would have thought so. El Grande Americano and the Creed brothers. I mean, just the best thing on TV.
Yeah, I love it.
Love El
Love
Grande.
it.
El Grande Americano and the Creed brothers defeated Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, and Dragon Lee. This was a fun match. Chad put metal in his mask, and he used it on a diving headbutt, and he also headbutted Rey Mysterio, who's on the outside. And this very quickly set up a match. Rey Mysterio backstage said to Adam Pearce, he's disrespecting all the luchadors before me. He's disrespecting me. I want a match at Mania. So we've got El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio at Mania.
Fantastic.
Can't say enough about this.
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
It'll be a really, really good match. Like, again, sometimes we think, we want Chad in this spot or want him in that spot, but like we were saying the other day with the War Raiders, like, if you think about it, Chad Gable is facing the greatest luchador of all time, Rey Mysterio, at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
like he would be more than happy with that. Yeah, exactly. So. Good on him.
We were chatting just before, weren't we? And we were saying, like, this, out of all the things that we've been like, it just needs the push, and they were about to push him, and then it feels like they didn't, and all that. Chad Gable needs the like all of this. This could be the thing that actually makes Chad Gable. Like, I think this is just wonderful stuff.
Yeah,
I totally agree, because sometimes, we were all disappointed when it didn't go how we expected it to go. But he's reinvented himself. I mean, I'm sure creatively he's been very involved with this El Grande Americano idea and this concept. And it's fun, and it's giving him the opportunity to do something different. And I totally agree. I think this could be the thing that pushes him to the next level.
He's has the ability, I think, to be babyface or heel.
Yeah.
He is a great sort of grappling mat wrestler.
Yeah.
Can do lots of different slams, the obvious comparisons to, Kurt Angle and stuff. But then he's showing with this, it's like this sort of Jericho-esque silliness that he can also do with, the sort of, you just made the list kind of era Jericho, where he can get silly stuff like that over in a really fun way that you want to watch.
Yeah, totally.
It's quality wrestling nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, we're all in on this joke, but it's great. They haven't put any stipulation so far, but I assume somewhere, if not at Mania, maybe after, a mask versus mask match will happen between these two, where Rey Mysterio will probably then get the win and expose him for who he is. Like,
QWN. Quality wrestling nonsense. I think that's a new T-shirt. I quite like that.
And I can't wait for the commentator when that reveal happens, and it's going to be either Wade Barrett or Pat McAfee or someone. It's going to be like, what? It was Chad Gable all along.
Wade Barrett for sure.
I want it to be Wade Barrett.
Yeah. But I was thinking about this. Surely when the reveal happens, the mask comes off and it's not Chad.
That has to be the best part.
And then they cut backstage and Chad's walking, doing an interview or whatever. Lots of fun. Very quickly want to mention Lyra Valkyria defeating Bayley in a Women's Intercontinental Championship match. I mean, a great TV match. The crowd really got behind this. It's a really solid match. Do we see the women's IC title defended on the Grande stage? Methinks not.
It doesn't look like it.
Well, as per SmackDown this week, we're getting Lyra and Bayley as a tag team in the women's tag team gauntlet.
That's right.
So,
of course.
Yeah, it doesn't seem, which is a shame for her and for Chelsea Green, because like I said, you just brought these belts to the dance this year, and they're already not important enough to not be like, why have you given the women this trinket? I can call it that if you're not putting it on your major show. Like, you have 2 nights of this show. It's not good enough.
It's not.
And that was like, I know you talked about it last week, but that was kind of like my point of, like, you have the women's tag titles, 2 women's world titles, the world heavyweight title, the Intercontinental, the women's Intercontinental US as well, all of these, and none of it is important to be the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania.
Not even night 1,
Like, it has to be this triple threat. And that was my issue with all of that. I understand how the story works with it, but it's like I kind of just wish one of those world titles was the main event, either Jey and Gunther or one of the women's ones.
Yeah. So talking of one of the women's title matches, Rhea Ripley officially added to the women's world title match against Io Sky and Bianca Belair to make it a triple threat.
Judgment Day's Rhea Ripley.
Adam Pearce is swept up in the excitement. Rhea Ripley hasn't been involved in Judgment Day for quite some time. Yeah, bless him. That was. I bet he said that. He was like,
immediately. Yeah.
He would have been fuming at that. I thought this was quite a nice segment. Bianca wearing black again and getting a chorus of boos from the crowd. I found that quite interesting. And she was sort of pissing and moaning about, like, she was up for it. She was like, I want you to be added to this match, but she was still sort of complaining about it.
She's totally right, though.
Yeah, like, of course she is.
I have won my place in this match, and now you've moaned your way here. And even on the night, it wasn't even Adam Pearce saying, right, I'm fed up of all of you guys. You're all just going to have the match. He just said, I'm announcing it's a triple threat match. Everyone come and sign, sort of thing, which there's a little hole in the story ultimately. Rhea was obviously very smug with it all. But Bianca is totally right. And with her being booed and Rhea just being the biggest star in that division, turn her, please. Like, even if it's by virtue of the Naomi stuff like we've mentioned, that eventually gets Bianca on side.
There's got to be a connection there.
Yeah, you've got to do it now. Come on.
I know we talk about like whether you're watching that thing of whether you're watching with pencil in hand trying to write what the story should be next, or whether you're watching as a mark. I always enjoy watching it as a mark and then thinking about it after. But like if you're watching it as a mark, just all like as if it's all completely real, which obviously it is, who do you want to win? Don't think storyline. Don't think SummerSlam or any of that. Just who are you... If this is boxing, if this is like real, who do you want to win?
Anyone, either of them apart from Rhea. Genuinely.
Yeah. I want Bianca to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. She hasn't done anything wrong to me.
I want Rhea to win. But that is... like, I can't... It's so interesting, and that's why I think you like the dynamic you bring to the show is so interesting because
I'm a mark.
Yeah, because you're
a total mark. I am, but proud of it.
You speak as a fan. No, it's true.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say because you're an absolute idiot. No, but because you watch as a fan, like I cannot separate the two. I want people to win based on sort of storyline and character development and where I think things should go and what I think talents deserve and things like that. And I'm just so invested in the rise in superstardom of Rhea Ripley. And it's really interesting watching Stephanie's Places, which I've now started to watch.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
And it's a fun show. Yeah. And it's like she plays a clip from Steve Austin. They're sat in a little empty arena and on the big screen, Stephanie plays Rhea a clip from Steve Austin saying out of everyone on the roster, he's most excited about Rhea. Like, she has everything. Right. And so I'm so invested in the real life story of Rhea Ripley and her growth and her becoming a bit of a legend of the sport. I just want her
keep on going,
ascend to continue. So I find it really hard to separate the two, and that's why I want her to win. But then equally, I know that for storyline purposes, Bianca winning is probably far more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like as a mark, I go like, I love Rhea, but like, if this is Bianca's match, she sort of won the right to have this match.
Yeah.
And Rhea just came in, started pushing Io Sky out the way and signed her name on a contract that had nothing to do with her. You know, this is Bianca's match. So yeah. But I'm a mark. So.
With my pen in hand, I probably want Bianca to win, go on a tear for the year, Rhea wins the Rumble, and then we're getting towards Rhea versus Bianca for Mania next year. They have to build that in a way that is a main event. Like, if they fail at that, I think that's a big problem because that is one of the few women's main events you can have. So
and they need to stick to it, and it needs to be main.
They need to be so dedicated to making sure that is a main event. So that's what I want.
Isn't it? I was just about to ask the question: have women ever truly main evented Mania? And obviously, it did happen. I was there in New York, 2019. Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte.
Yeah.
But it's quite mad that it hasn't happened since then.
So Sasha and Bianca had their night one main event.
They closed the show on night one, did they? Okay. But a Sunday night main event has only happened once, hasn't it?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And that was the year before it went to 2 nights.
Yeah. Yes, it was,
Yeah.
Well, that just brings it back to the discussion of like, is night one really the main event? You know, I know we say it and it's pushed as the main event, but the reality is it's the midpoint of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like the, you know, big start, big finish, and a big midpoint.
It's mid-card at best.
No, it's not mid-card.
No, I know what you mean. I totally appreciate
it's
what
you know,
I totally know what you mean.
You know,
it's halfway through.
And an 8-part drama series, it's the end of episode 4, which is the big midpoint of the series.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is, which is why I have that just slight gripe with like, and again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like, if it's all about story and this whole CM Punk thing of like, one day I've got a main event WrestleMania, I just think the story would have such a better payoff if it was night 2.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that is such a big part of his story that I think he would have complained about it years ago when he was in that zone of wanting to leave because he wasn't getting what he wanted, which was to main event WrestleMania. If Vince McMahon said, I know I said this on the group, but like if Vince McMahon said to him at the time, don't worry because we're going to go to 2 nights and you can be the end of night 1. And he's like, well, I think I deserve the big main event on the end of night 2. Well, no, that's going to be John Cena. I can't see Punk being okay with that at that time.
Which to our point that we were saying a few weeks ago, have they slightly wasted this opportunity with Punk? Because we always said his true WrestleMania main event story should be finishing that story and winning the Rumble, having the title chase. And how much more powerful would it be if it was opposite Roman Reigns for the title, and then it's Punk Roman with Heyman in the middle?
Yeah.
Like, is that stronger than this triple threat and a main event of night 1?
Yeah.
Anyway,
but they're trying to do all this like storyline of this being this big main event when it's like it could have been either of the women's world titles, or it could have been, especially after this week, it could, you know, the last 2 weeks, it could have been Jey Gunther now, I think.
Yeah.
They've got too many top-level stars. It's a great problem.
It's a great problem to have. Well, that's a lovely segue into the final thing I wanted to talk about on Raw, which is Gunther Jey Uso. I've got some notes here, and it just says, yes, please, and thank you. I thought this was wonderful. It's like proof, if proof be needed, that story and heart and emotion wins over every time, because one of the weakest, least exciting builds for Mania that we've been moaning about for months now, it feels, suddenly has become one of the most interesting.
So good.
Because
this segment was so good.
Like, and this is, and what we were saying, Jey Uso, merch machine, top merch seller. There's a reason why he's in this position. He's got the gimmick entrance. Rock concert, as Mekz says. He's got all those things, but still the best thing about him is when he takes those gimmick sunglasses off, throws them to the side, and we get to see the real Jey. Because I thought the promo was brilliant. Like, and it wasn't like perfectly executed. I always think with Jey, he's slightly rough around the edges sometimes, but you just don't care because you buy into the emotion. He's sort of on the verge of tears. He's talking about Jimmy. He's talking about his mum. Gunther's reactions too, I thought were perfectly pitched.
So good.
Perfectly pitched. I thought it was great. Absolutely great. And what I always hate is if someone goes through a bad loss or they get attacked or something on a PLE, the Monday night after they come down and they're all singing and cheering and they're doing their normal
which he has
entrance,
been guilty of.
Which he has been guilty of in the past. Like he lost the title match, didn't he? And then he was all happy the next day. But this time I was like, please don't yeet, please don't yeet, please don't yeet. And he came out and he just solemnly walked down. Oh, it was just brilliant.
Even the crowd started yeeting and he shushed them.
He
went like, he kept doing that with his hands, like, now's not the time. Not tonight. And it was just like this kind of, like that breathing from him. And then that moment where I looked at him and went, I'm not scared of you anymore. And it was just the way Gunther, he didn't overdo anything, but you could see in his eyes that Gunther was going, oh God, I've awoken something in him. Like I thought I'd beaten him down, but what I've done is I've woken the dragon. Like it was perfect.
It was great. And Michael Cole said for the first time in months, it feels like Jey Uso now has the upper hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved it. Mekz, do you agree?
Yeah, I was one of my favorite rap songs ever is by a guy called Styles P. 2008. The song is called Pain. The first line of the song, all I know is pain. And he talks about his life and whatever.
I love that song.
I grew up on that song.
My point being, this is where Jey Uso operates best, in a place of pain and personal struggle. Like you mentioned, he is great when it comes to being the WWE superstar, the merch and the entrance and everything like that. But this is clearly when we are most invested. And I was worried last week that what had now become the best part of the story in Jimmy Uso has now been written off TV. Now we're back to the two original guys that couldn't kind of excite us in the first place. And now they've cut this promo. Like, him coming down all serious, throws off the glasses. The first line of the promo was, "Do you have a mother?" Do you speak to your mother?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and, you know, he releasing his shoot name in Joshua. My mom asked me, you know, why didn't you look after him, Joshua? Like, he's just so good at those little things. And the roughness around the edges that you talked about, James, it helps in a promo like this because he's still emotional. So he can kind of be, you know, erratic in his delivery and stuff. And, you know, saying that before the match, I'm going to pray for myself. I'm going to ask forgiveness because I don't know what's going to happen to you at WrestleMania. Like, I just thought,
Gunther, I'm not scared no more.
Yeah. Like, Gunther, like you said, it wasn't like a big kind of cartoonish sell. It was just like, okay, I've woken up something that I didn't believe was inside this guy sort of thing. And this is a guy, look, Gunther came out with the biggest smile, big red tie and everything. Like, he looked like he was having a whale of a time.
Thought he'd already won.
Yeah. Jay's music hit and he met a different guy.
Yeah.
Like,
what was it? I pray for forgiveness for the man I'm about to become, or something.
Whatever he said.
I'll pray for you, but I'll pray for me as well for the man I'm about to become. I haven't managed to write any final thoughts this week because it's just been manic. But just you saying about when he says to Gunther, "Have you got a mum?" After the debacle of the Charlotte Tiffany promo, I think they rewrote the original script from Jey, which was going to be, "Have you got a mum?" Because she's just slid into my DMs. That would have been less serious. Anyway, I just thought it was so good.
Yeah,
and just imagine the promo package. When it comes,
it's gonna be good.
We've gone from unnecessary beatdowns and pull aparts, which we were just like all shrugging our shoulders at. It's like, why is Gunther doing it? Jey looks weak. Like it's just all built really nicely.
And I just imagine it like if I hope he's gonna win, and like if he pulls it off, and like there's a moment where it just looks like he's not gonna, but Jimmy turns up and he's there going, come on,
and screws him.
Not again.
Jimmy is 100%. And I was telling my friends the other day,
please no.
Jimmy's gone to Target to buy his new black hoodie. Like, he's going to pull off that black hoodie.
Can't happen again.
He's going to be there. 100%.
No, but do you know what? All Jimmy needs to do is come down during the match and give Gunther the most almighty great slap again. Like, that's all it needs, because it just needs a payoff moment, a callback to the slap backstage a few weeks ago, which we all loved, and just Jimmy being there for when Jey wins the title. That's all it needs.
It could even be like Jimmy running down the aisle and just like G'ing him up, no physicality, just like, you know, wake up, bro, come on, let's get this done sort of thing. But to that point, I was thinking next week, when Roman is going to be on Raw, I don't think it's necessary, but do you think it's worth having, even if it's just they walk past each other in the back, Roman says to Jimmy, like, go and do it for your brother, like something bloodline related
to Jey. Yeah, you see, I think that would be lovely, and then that could almost be your subtle, Roman is properly turning face by the time we get to the end of Saturday night. I think that's a lovely little shout.
Just something really that doesn't overshadow Jey, but something that, you know, you're on the Tribal Chief's radar, you've got a big match coming up, obviously your brother's been bloodied, you know, go and do this for the family sort of thing.
And now that Seth Rollins has a favour and he's in cahoots with Roman Reigns as well, with their Shield connections, that they use that favour, which now we know was not the main event bit, to take that out of the main event, so we get main event Jey Uso.
And then El Grande Americano comes out.
And then the glass smashes and Austin...
I'll tell you what, whatever happens, it's going to be an incredible WrestleMania weekend. To that point, Luke West emails, He says, hello, you love the pod. Cannot wait for the next live event. Long-time listener, first-time emailer. I have a question. I'm going solo to WrestleMania this year, and as someone who's been to Mania before, I was wondering if you had any suggestions on what to do whilst over there. I know there's various conventions and such. Is it worth trying to go to every show over Mania weekend? Like Kev, I know tragically you still haven't done a Mania. We will get you to a Mania.
We'll not be there this year either.
We will get you to a Mania. Mekz, obviously you and I were in Philly together last year.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I would say yes, try and go to all the shows.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to some shows last year? Like, like the Undertaker, Deadman, all those things?
No, still haven't done an Undertaker show. But I mean, we did SmackDown and Raw, and we did NXT. Obviously, the 2 nights of Mania, Hall of Fame. But I think, like, for me, one of my standout memories is just, like, wandering down, I think it was, like, South Street, was it? Mm-hmm. We've talked about it on the show before. But, like, smaller independent companies putting on wrestling shows in the middle of the street.
Great.
There were food trucks and I would try and soak in, especially in a place like Vegas, just try and soak in all you can and meet as many fellow fans as you can.
Yeah.
The amount of people you can end up having drinks with and just chatting to at various bars. And there are so many like podcast shows, there's live events happening, there's parties being hosted by podcast hosts and stuff.
Yeah. Even WWE got their own parties now. WrestleMania After
Dark, yeah.
I mean, big night out.
Oh yeah, that's this week, I think. McAfee's doing a big night out. But yeah, like it's just a fun weekend, isn't it? Like you can't, you'd find it very hard to not have a good time.
Yeah, try not to be overwhelmed because there is a lot of options and
that's a good show
and stuff. But definitely, get yourself down to some indies because why I like indies, it's almost like watching. I'm a big football fan and I like watching academy football to kind of see who's next. That's probably why I watch so much NXT as well, to see who's next sort of thing. So with the indie shows, you can kind of see who's on the coming up and. Yeah, I think there's some Progress have a show out there. Obviously, Progress is a British promotion to doing a show that weekend. There'll be a lot of stuff down there to see, and like you said, good food to eat. So, yeah, just don't get overwhelmed by the amount of options, but. Yeah, definitely start planning.
Well, shout out to Progress, actually, because I got an email from them this week at the Pearl Theatre at Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas at 11:59 p.m. On Thursday the 17th. So that's Thursday night, the 17th of April. They'll be doing a show. And it looks like a good card. They've offered us access and stuff. I'm not sure what we'll be doing on Thursday night yet. But
the main event of that show is Luke Jacobs versus Michael Oku, who... Both of them, Michael Oku recently was on AEW when they came to Cardiff, and Luke Jacobs recently had a WWE trial. So those two are like the next ones out of this country, so to speak. Like they're already on the radar of everyone big. They're going to be main eventing for the Progress title. So
and that's like to Mex's point about not being overwhelmed. There is so much, Luke, that you can pick from. Like, definitely go through the schedule of all the events happening and the conventions and things. Do yourself a bit of an itinerary. But I think that Progress show will be great. Like, I haven't done a Progress show over Mania weekend, but I have done a Ring of Honor show, various Ring of Honor shows over Mania weekends, and they put in a shift. It's Mania weekend for these smaller companies. They put in so much effort to put together incredible cards. So if you can get to some indie shows, definitely do it.
Yeah, and like we're saying, it's a chance for the talent to be identified by new fans, new audience,
100%.
Build new connections. Ring of Honor aren't doing one this year. They've opted not to for whatever reason. But yeah, Progress and a ton others will be.
So many. Yeah. So many. Final email just to wrap up the show. Rob Morris emails. Hello, you. Just wanted to congratulate James for completing the Brighton Marathon on Sunday. Yeah.
Round of applause.
Thank you. I was hoping to see you and let you know how much I love GP. I caught a glimpse of you running opposite me at one point, and I tried to catch you up, but your pace was too quick. Another round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Sonic over here.
Bron Breaker over here.
I honestly wasn't that quick. Listening to GP has always made my training runs a little easier, so thank you to you all. Random questions. Sorry, Skillet. If you had to run a marathon alongside any wrestler, past or present, who would it be? Congrats again, James. Keep up the great work. Rob Morris. Can we have the deep voice for big question? Big question. That's a great way to wrap up the show. If you could run a marathon with any wrestler, past or present, Rob wants to know who it would be. Mekz?
Well, I want someone I could beat, so...
That's what I was thinking.
Strowman.
Yeah, I was thinking like Otis.
Yeah, Otis, Big Show.
Great Khali. Can you imagine him running? Be dreadful.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Yeah, one of those fellas.
Or someone like Kaiser. Because he'd be a great pacer for you.
Yeah.
You'd struggle to keep up, but I think he'd really push me to get an incredible time.
That's a good shout.
I think he would
Bianca
be a good
Belair
runner.
or someone like that.
Oh, Bianca Belair is a good shout.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're following Kaiser, Charlotte's probably just in front.
Oh, yeah. Hey, there you go. You've done your own final thoughts.
There he is.
Love that. Love that. Okay. Thanks so much to everyone listening this week. Mekz, where can people find you on the social?
WrestleManiac UK on X, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
And Kev, where can people find you?
At Kevin Clifton, just on Insta. I've come off X.
Have you?
Yeah. It was just, I got to that point where like, Stace, my girlfriend, came off it like a couple of years ago now, I think. I'm never in a good mental space after I've looked at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of screaming people, and I just found it a bit too much. And Stace went, just switch it off because it's annoying you.
Yeah.
So I did. Now, I'm not very good with technology, so I don't know if I've actually deleted my account. So there may be an account of mine still. But
Producer Ben, can you find out if Kevin's still on Twitter?
But I'm just not there. But I'm just on Insta.
But it's so interesting, and I agree with everything you say. And like for me personally, I came off X a while ago. It's just like I can't be doing with it.
Yeah.
But for GP and this wrestling community, it still seems to be the number one platform.
Oh, okay.
Just because of news and how quickly things churned out and how quickly people can get their opinion across. You know, it's still a big platform for us.
In that case, do I still have an account? I do. Okay, forget anything I just said.
Maybe you just deleted it from your phone.
X. All right. Well, maybe I will make a deal with myself that when I'll go on X, but I will only interact with Gorilla Position stuff. I won't interact with anything
Lovely
else.
stuff.
Just
because
wrestling
then
community stuff.
Yeah, just
I'll take
wrestling
that.
community stuff.
I'll take that. That's good for us.
Otherwise, Insta. Yeah.
Okay, lovely stuff. And just to celebrate the fact that Kevin Clifton is here, should we end the show with the CM Punk jingle? Hit us with it.
I don't hate CM Punk. I just don't understand the godlike praise. I don't hate him. I just don't think he's as good as everyone else. I don't hate him. I just think he's unprofessional.
You're literally convincing yourself.
I don't hate him. I don't get the... Yeah, I've said it.
There you go. Anyway, thanks to our writer, researcher, Tom Fordy, and producer Ben Ramsden. This has been a Starstruck Media production. I haven't even done the outs. Email us, hello@wegp.co.uk. Give us a follow on social at WEGP on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Brand new content coming this week. YouTube.com/@WEGP. And finally, it really helps out if you could rate and review GP wherever you get your podcasts. This has been, again, a Starstruck Media production. We shall see you next week.
Gorilla Position.
I'm a champion.